The meaning and purpose of the Pictish symbol stones continue to perplex scholars. What do they mean, and what were they for? In our first film, Symbols and Signs, we looked at some of the different ways in which scholars have tried to make sense of the symbol stones over the years. Some were interpreted as badges of office of members of the Pictish elite. Others, it was suggested, may have been connected to early astronomical calculations. Some were thought to be badges of particular Pictish lineages, with paired symbols marking marriages between the lineages, and the stones designating their territories. The mirror and comb symbol was regarded by many observers as a clear gender statement. But current thinking favours interpreting the symbols as Pictish personal names, and this opens up new possibilities for unlocking the symbol code. Of the 250 or so Pictish sculptured stones, about a dozen also have inscriptions alongside the symbols. Most of these inscriptions are in the Ogham script, like this one here at Bransbutt in Inverurie. Can the inscription help us to understand the meaning of the symbols? Can the inscriptions confirm the view that the symbols are names? Ogham script originated in Ireland in the 4th or 5th century as a form of lettering based on the phonetics of the Irish language. Pictish and Welsh variations of this 20-letter alphabet were evolved as the script spread from Ireland. If a translated Ogham inscription produces the same name alongside the same Pictish symbols on different stones, then could we conclude that the symbol and the inscription are the same? The two Pictish stones, which today stand in the gardens of Newton House near Pitmachie, are not in their original position. They were found quite close together, not far from here, and were moved to their current location in the early 19th century. The stone on the right has a serpent and Z rod with a double disc. The stone on the left has no symbols, but does have Ogham script on its left edge. The translation of the Ogham script has produced this lettering as part of the script. It's been suggested that this is the name Idern or Idernon, the same as Tiernan. Is it possible that the stones were erected together and that the Ogham inscription and the symbols are linked? The Ogham script on the remarkable Bransbutt stone has also been translated. Some scholars believe that this is also the name Idern or Idernan. The symbols here are a serpent and Z rod and a crescent and V rod. The serpent and Z rod therefore appear on both the Bransbutt and the Newton stone, located only a few miles apart. It has also been pointed out that Idern seems to be the same name that appears in Ogham inscriptions on other stones too, for example at Brodie in Murray. The translation of the Ogham inscription at Brodie has produced this. The Pictish symbols on the Brodie stone, however, are the Pictish beast and the double disc and Z rod. There is no serpent and Z rod. The Pictish stone from Scooney in Fife, now in the Museum of Scotland, also displays the inscription Idernon, and, like Brodie, has a carved Pictish beast. This name, Idernon, which appears on several Pictish symbol stones, may be that of Tiernan, who is well known in Aberdeenshire and Angus as St Tiernan, the 5th or 6th century bishop of the Picts. Tiernan is thought to have been born in Fordoun in the Mearns and ordained by St Palladius at the chapel of the same name in Auchenblae. Could this be the same Tiernan who spent time as a monk in Curos in Fife, providing a possible link to the Scooney stone? He's also thought to have established a mission in Banchory on Deeside, where today the town's churches bear the name Banchory Tiernan. Tiernan's mission to Banchory might have taken him over the Mount, the range of hills that connect the lowlands of the Mearns to upland Deeside. This vast area of the East Grampian Hills and Mountains has often been described as a barrier, limiting connections between the lowlands and the highlands in this part of Scotland. But passes through and across the Mount were known from the earliest times, and Tiernan may have used some of these in his aim to spread Christianity to the northern Picts. Tiernan's missionary efforts on both sides of the Mount may have created a cult of St Tiernan shared by both northern and southern Picts. But we do have to be careful with the very limited evidence that we have about the real Tiernan. There may be in fact several Tiernans operating in different periods of Pictish history. But whether the Ogham inscriptions refer to one man or to several different men, there is no doubting the powerful impact this name has had on both sides of the Mount. While some Ogham inscriptions definitely enhance our understanding of the symbol stones, others resolutely resist interpretation. Here at Dice Old Church, the cross slab, which we saw in the first of our films, Symbols and Signs, also has an Ogham inscription down its right-hand edge. A recent translation of this inscription has produced the following lettering. The middle part is a Gaelic form of Mac, meaning son of, but the name which follows is unclear and uncertain. So, although part of the Ogham inscription is certainly a personal name, it's unclear what the name is, and it's not possible to link it clearly to any of the four symbols on the cross slab. This brief look at some of the symbol stones with Ogham inscriptions does not produce a consistent connection between some of the inscriptions and particular symbols. But we can conduct a similar type of investigation at the Drosten stone at St Vigeans near Arbroath, where Pictish symbols accompany an inscription not in Ogham, but in the Roman alphabet. St Vigeans Church on the outskirts of Arbroath commemorates a 7th century Irish saint. Standing at the top of a natural mound, St Vigeans was a Pictish monastic site from the 8th century. A number of stones were found in the church precincts and nearby. They are housed in Historic Scotland's small St Vigeans Museum. Today we're interested in one particular stone inside the museum, the so-called Drosten stone. And this is the Drosten stone, the 9th century sandstone cross slab. The cross is beautifully decorated with this intricate braiding, and the side panels have a series of mythical animals. This panel has vine scroll carved on it. Vine scroll is an established method of depicting the Eucharist in Christian carving of this period. On the opposite side from the cross is a hunting scene, and at the bottom, a panel depicting a number of different animals, including a wild boar. And here, a hunter is about to release an arrow, possibly from a crossbow. And this may represent an osprey with a fish in its talons. The Pictish symbols on the stone are the double disc and Z rod. the crescent but not with a V-rod, and mirror and comb. But what we're particularly interested in today is the inscription in Latin at the base of the stone. Current thinking is that the script reflects Gallic language structure and reads Drosten in the time of Urat and Forcus. Drost is one of the Pictish names that features quite frequently in the king list, as is Urat, while the identity of this particular Drost is not clear. The name Urat may refer to Kenneth MacAlpine's immediate predecessor as King of the Picts. So can we conclude that there is a connection between the names in the inscriptions and the Pictish symbols on the stone? Could Drost, for example, be the same as the double disc and Z-rod? Could Urat be represented by the crescent? And what's the connection between Forcus and the mirror and comb? The fact is that we can't be certain of a definite link between the names revealed in the inscription and the Pictish symbols on the Drosten stone. We need this to be confirmed by another stone which also displays a Latin inscription and Pictish symbols. In searching for this, one Pictish symbol stone might be of particular importance. There is a Class 2 stone which is thought to be unique in that it expresses its meaning not in 2 but in 3 languages. A Pictish symbol, an inscription in the Roman alphabet, and a possible Ogham inscription are all present on the Fordoun stone. And this stone is less than 30 miles from St Vigeans at Auchenblae. Auchenblae is in the parish of Fordoun, according to some sources the birthplace of St Tiernan, Bishop of the Picts. The ruined chapel of St Palladius sits in the church grounds. St Palladius was one of the first Christian missionaries to Pict land in the 5th century and is said to have ordained Tiernan here on the site of the chapel. Fordoun stone is inside the parish kirk. The Fordoun stone was probably carved in the 9th century, several centuries after the death of St Tiernan. It's a sandstone Class 2 cross slab with a hunting scene in which horsemen accompanied by dogs pursue their quarry. And just below the hunting scene is the classic Pictish symbol of the double disc and Z-rod. There's also some further carvings at the top of the stone. But this is definitely not the Pictish beast, but it may be another aquatic mythical animal, the hippocamp. But it's the inscription at the top left-hand corner of the cross slab that's particularly fascinating. The inscription reads P-I-D-A-R-N-O-I-N. So is this Tiernan? Is this Tiernan? Could the double disc and Z-rod represent the name? And will this be confirmed by the Ogham inscription, which has been discovered on the side of the cross slab? Only parts of the Ogham inscription have been deciphered. It is said to read, the translation does not reveal a recognizable name, but the very last part is intriguing. It suggests the possibility of a word beginning with E and ending in N, with spacing that is certainly consistent with Tiernan. Speculation, of course, is no substitute for hard evidence, and it's simply not possible to definitely establish a link between the symbol, the Ogham script, and the Latin inscription on the Fordoun stone. And in terms of the Pictish stones more generally, although it's certainly true that the symbols may represent personal names, they're not necessarily the names revealed in the inscriptions. Although a key to unlock the symbol code still eludes us, this should not be taken as evidence that the symbol stones are silent. The Class 2 sculptured stones are important for what they do tell us, rather than for what they don't tell us about the Picts. The stones which Allen and Anderson referred to as Class 2 provide a wealth of information on the social and political lives of the Picts and their transformation to a Christian kingdom between the 6th and 9th centuries. The symbols on Class 1 stones are uniquely Pictish, but the design and decoration on Class 2 and 3 cross slabs form part of a wider cultural context linking the different societies and cultures in Ireland and Britain at this time. Art historians refer to this as Insular art. Knowledge of the illuminated religious manuscripts helped to provide inspiration for Pictish sculptures, whose work in turn must have influenced the decorated gospel books like the Book of Durrow and the Book of Kells. This beautiful image from an 8th century Northumbrian Gospel book bears a remarkable similarity to the carved Pictish sea eagle on the Tillytarmont stone near Huntly. I wonder who came first, the Pictish sculptor or the Northumbrian monk? The vine scroll carvings on a number of cross slabs, including Hilton of Cadboll and the Drosten stone at St Vigeans, was a recognised method in manuscripts of depicting the Eucharist. It places the Pictish carver firmly within the context of contemporary Christian carving and writing. Pictish carvers had a thorough knowledge of the Gospel stories, resulting in scenes like David in the Lion's Den in this cross slab from Meagle Museum. The Christian saints and their stories were well known to the sculptors. These two figures on the Dunfallendy stone near Pitlochry are thought to be St Anthony and St Paul in the desert. The raven bringing the bread is another depiction of Holy Communion. Equestrian hunting scenes were particularly popular with Pictish carvers, but it's not clear whether they show real members of the Pictish elite or are general statements of elite lifestyle and activities. This is the remarkable replica of the Hilton of Cadboll cross slab. The original is housed in the Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. One of the striking aspects in the cross slab is this depiction of a Pictish horsewoman sitting side saddle during the hunt. It's not clear whether it refers to a specific woman who existed at the time, or whether it's a more general statement about aristocratic status. It might even be a specific classic or biblical reference. What it does reveal is a Pictish elite completely comfortable with the status and trappings of real power, and also relaxed about the combination of ancient Pictish values and Christian culture. Some stones may depict real historical events. The Class II cross slab at Aberlemno Kirk may represent the Battle of Dunnichen in 685, although historians are by no means agreed on this or on the actual location. What they do agree on is that the victory of Brithi's Pictish army over the Anglian forces led by Egfrith put a stop to Anglian expansion in the north, and that Egfrith was killed during the battle. On the left, the Pictish army is advancing against Anglian cavalry. Some of the Anglian cavalry have retreated, discarding shields and weapons as they go. A particularly large figure on the cross slab is being pecked by a raven. Could this possibly be the dead King Egfrith? There are two symbols at the top of the stone, the notched rectangle and Z-rod, and a triple disc. Could they possibly be the names of victor or vanquished? The Picts sculptured stones are an enormously important source of information about Pictish life. They reveal the development of a sophisticated, cultured and connected society whose artists revelled in displaying the heritage of their unique symbols, as well as testifying to their place within the European and wider Christian community. Renewed interest in the history and archaeology of the Picts is helping to reveal the key developments in the history of Pictland. A study of the Class II sculptured stones plays an important role in this, revealing the transformation in Pictish culture and society. But it's important to remember that there was continuity as well as change. The Class II stones reveal that even in the context of enormous social change among the Picts, Pictish stonemasons and the communities they represented continued to seek inspiration from their amazing symbol heritage.